Namaste yogis, you're very welcome to join me for this winter-inspired yoga practice. Today we'll focus on building heat internally to invigorate and calm our nervous system to better prepare ourselves for the dark, cold months ahead. All you'll need today is you and your mat, so when you're ready, make yourself comfortable and let's begin. We'll begin today's practice sitting in a comfortable cross-legged seat, closing our eyes, and begin to bring your awareness into the room, onto your mat, and into your body. Beginning to notice your breath, noticing each inhale and each exhale. See if you can begin to bring more length, more depth to the breath. As you inhale fully, down towards the bottom of the belly, and you follow the exhale back up, out through the body, and out through the nose. Inhale, and exhale. Begin to sweep your arms up and overhead. Plant your palms together and draw your hands down to your heart center. And we'll do that once again. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead, nice and slowly. And exhale down to your heart center. And again, inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale down to your heart center. Lovely, we'll release the hands down onto the knees. And gently blink the eyes open. From here, plant your left hand down onto the mat as you sweep your right arm up and overhead, coming into a nice side stretch through the right side body. If it's okay in your neck, you can begin to look up towards the arm as you open through the chest, finding space through the heart center. Keeping the right hip nice and heavy, connected with the mat. And on your next exhale, we'll gently release and swap sides. We'll plant the right hand down onto the mat as we sweep our left arm up and overhead. Keeping the left hip nice and heavy, keeping the chest open. And if it's okay in your neck, you could begin to look up towards the arm to get a deeper opening through the chest. Staying with your breath. And we'll gently release, coming back to center. From here, we'll make our way over to hands and knees. We're going to gently flow through a few rounds of cat-cow. We'll move with our breath. On an inhale, we'll drop our belly. We'll lift our heart and gaze, look forward. On an exhale, round through the spine as you drop the gaze and tuck the tailbone under. Inhale, back into cow pose. Lift the heart and gaze, lift the tailbone high. Exhale, round into cat, dropping the gaze. Inhale, back into cow. And exhale, rounding into cat. Begin to move with your own breath, trying to keep the pace as slow as you can while we begin to warm up through the spine, beginning to wake up through the shoulders and through the hips. Notice how each movement affects the body. Just notice what you notice. And from here, we'll begin to walk the hands slightly more forward on the mat. As we tuck our toes under, we're going to make our way into our first downward facing dog. From here, we'll begin to lift the knees off the mat as we send the hips high, pressing the hips towards the back of the room, keeping the knees as deeply bent as you need to create a nice long spine. Begin to walk out your dog by dropping the weight into one heel at a time. Keeping the gaze looking between the space in between your legs. And waking up through the backs of the legs. Coming to stillness in your down dog, we'll begin to look up towards the hands as we hover our shoulders forward so they come in line over the wrists. Pressing back into the heels of the feet, we'll gently begin to rock the body forward and back. Keeping the hips high, pressing the mat away from you. Building heat now deep into the core. And on an exhale, we'll press ourselves back into our downward facing dog. Inhale once again, rolling the body forward into plank. And rocking forward and back once again. Building strength into the shoulders, waking up through the body, and pressing back into our downward facing dog. When you're ready, we'll begin to walk up towards the top of the mat into a forward fold, allowing the body to hang heavy over the legs, keeping the knees as deeply bent as you need, maybe taking hold of opposite elbow to really release through the lower back. Allow the head to be heavy. Now the shoulders to release. Maybe beginning to rock side to side in the hips. We'll release the hands back down onto the mat, heel toe the feet together. Begin to bend into the knees as much as you can. Bring your arms back behind your lower back as we interlace through the fingers. We're going to sit the hips back even deeper, as if we're coming into a chair pose. Using the strength of your arms, we're going to begin to lift the chest away from the knees as we look forward, drawing the shoulders away from the ears, keeping the knees deeply bent and sitting the hips back as we open through our chest, open through our heart space. Looking forward, using the strength of our legs to hold us here. And exhale, begin to fold over the legs, keeping the arms as they are. Begin to drop the arms back behind the head, pressing the knuckles away from you, drawing your shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, once again, coming up into our imaginary chair pose. Draw the knuckles away from you, send the hips heavy, open the chest forward, looking forward. Can you open up the chest even more? And we'll make our way up to standing. Keep the arms as they are, fingers interlaced behind the lower back. Take a moment to notice how you're standing. We're going to begin to bring the weight into the left foot as we come up onto the toes of the right foot. Begin to bend into the right knee. Draw the foot away from the mat. We're going to begin to hinge forward from the hips. Begin to press the right foot back, bringing the crown of the head forward as we come into Warrior Three. Use the strength of your arms to hold you in place, pressing firmly into the right heel. Looking towards the center of the mat, drawing the crown of your head forward, keeping the hips level. And on an inhale, gently coming back out, draw the right knee back in line with the hip. Lovely, we'll gently release. Taking one deep inhale. And exhale, maybe shaking the legs left to right. And we'll set ourselves up for the next side. Bringing your awareness this time into the right leg. Coming up onto the toes of the left foot. Looking forward, we'll begin to pick up the left leg, bending into the knee, flexing through the foot. On your next exhale, begin to hinge forward from the hips as you send the leg back. You send the crown of the head forward. One nice straight line through the body. Strong standing leg. Using your arms to hold you in place. Keeping the hips level. And don't worry if you fall out, you can always come straight back in. Finding strength, building that heat through the body. Remember to breathe. Inhale. And exhale, we'll gently come back up to standing. Bring the left knee back in line with the hip. And we'll gently release. Lovely. Take a moment to shake through the hips, bending and straightening opposite leg, just to let that pose go. When you're ready, we'll begin to bend deeply back into the knees as we hinge forward from the hips and allow the head to hang heavy, coming back into our forward fold. Getting that nice stretch through the shoulders once again as you draw the knuckles away from the body. And we'll gently release the hands down towards the mat. Allow the head to be heavy. From here, we're going to make our way down onto the mat, coming through a squat. Plant your fingers onto the mat so you come high up on the toes, bending into the knees as you send the hips down towards the heels. Coming down through to our squat. We'll walk our hands in line under our shoulders. Option to stay here using the hands as support on the mat, or bring your hands to touch in front of your heart center. Finding our balance. And we'll gently release. Bring your hands down onto the mat as you drop your knees down, coming into a toe squat. Option to stay with the hands planted on the mat, or option to slide your hands up the legs and bring your hands back into prayer. Dropping your shoulders down away from the ears, closing off the eyes, and beginning to slow down. Beginning to notice the breath as you notice the sensations through the body. We'll gently begin to release, beginning to wiggle out through the toes. We'll open the feet up nice and wide, just enough to begin to bring the hips back in between the feet. We'll walk our hands back behind us, keeping the hands pointed towards the top of the mat. Roll the shoulders down away from the ears as you press the chest forward. Option to stay here, or if you would like to take it deeper, you can begin to come down onto the elbows as you drop the head back. Or if you'd like to take it even deeper, and dropping down towards the back of the head. So we're beginning to lift our lower back away from the mat as we open through the chest. You can maybe bring the hands up and overhead, maybe taking hold of opposite elbow. And wherever you are in this pose, begin to release. Begin to let go and find softness. finding your breath once again. Inhale and exhale. We'll gently release out of the pose wherever you are, coming out the same way you came in. Coming up onto the elbows if you're fully down on the mat, walking the hands back up onto the mat, and bring yourself sitting up nice and tall. From here, we'll bring our feet out in front of us. And begin to take hold of the backs of the knees, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to make our way into boat pose from here. So coming up onto the heels first, option to stay here, or option to lift the feet one at a time away from the mat, dropping the shoulders down away from the ears, lengthen through the spine, option to extend the legs straight away from you, or option to release the grip from the backs of the legs. And wherever you are, begin to hold your pose. Create long inhales and long exhales. And we'll gently release out of our boat pose, planting both feet back on the mat. We'll make our way into Baddha Konasana from here, so we'll bring the soles of our feet to touch. We're going to create loads of space between our body and our feet, so walk the feet away from you. We'll drop our knees heavy and we'll begin to hinge forward from the hips. You can rest the hands wherever they feel comfortable, maybe keeping them on the feet, or if you'd like to wrap the arms underneath the legs and begin to soften through the head, allowing yourself to really settle in. Soften through the lower back, soften through the hips. Begin to find stillness down through the body. Releasing any effort and letting go. Gently begin to release and unwind. Taking hold of either knee as you draw the legs back together. From here, we're going to make our way down onto our mats, coming down onto our back. We'll begin to make our way into bridge pose. Make sure your feet are in line under the knees so you can gently graze your heels with your fingers. Begin to rock your pelvis forward and back, warming up through the lower spine and the hips. On your next exhale, we'll begin to rock the hips up to bridge, taking the hips away from the mat as you ground down through both feet evenly, keeping the arms planted on the mat. And we'll begin to engage through the glutes, waking up the muscles. Gently release and lower the hips back down onto the mat. And begin to rock forward and back once again. Begin to extend your right leg away from you. Keep the knees in line with each other. On your next exhale, we're going to begin to pick up the hips and make our way into our bridge pose, trying to keep both knees in line with one another. Engaging through the glutes, using your right leg to hold you in place. And we'll gently release the hips back down towards the mat. Exhale, once again coming up into our bridge. Nice strong legs. And and gently lower down. Lovely. Release the right foot back down onto the mat. And when you're ready, we're going to take it to the next side. We'll extend the left leg away this time, pointing through the toes. On your next exhale, we'll begin to pick up the hips once again, coming up into our bridge pose. Trying to keep the knees in line with one another while we engage through the glutes. Using your legs to keep you in place. Soften through the shoulders. And gently release and lower. And when you're ready, on your next exhale, making your way back up into our bridge pose, keeping the hips level, knees in line with one another, toes pointed away. Exhale, release and soften back down. And from here, we're going to draw both knees in towards our chest. Maybe rocking side to side. Whatever feels right for you, just to let that pose go. We're going to plant our left foot down onto the mat while we take hold of the right knee with both hands. And we'll just rock the knee side to side or forward and back, just finding a bit of movement into the hip joint. We'll bring our hands towards the back of the leg while we point through the toes. We're going to begin to circle out through the ankle, feeling out any knots, any clicks, any tension at all in the ankle, and then reversing in the opposite direction. And pointing the toes once again, maybe you can begin to slide the hands up the leg as you draw the foot closer towards your face, getting a nice stretch through the back of the leg, down through the hamstring, down into the calf muscle. Keeping the hips nice and heavy. And we'll gently begin to release. Draw the knee in towards the chest. And we'll release the right foot down onto the mat. And we'll swap sides. We'll draw the left knee in towards the chest, gently rocking side to side or forward and back. And then we'll begin to point the left foot away as we begin to circle through the ankle. Feeling into this foot. Notice any difference from the last side. Reversing in the opposite direction. And we'll point through the toes. Maybe you can slide the hands up the back of the leg, getting a deeper stretch once again through the back of the leg. Relaxing through the muscles in your face. Relaxing through the shoulders. And we'll gently release. Draw the left knee back in towards the chest. Bring the right foot to meet it. We'll wrap our arms around the legs. Maybe taking hold of opposite elbows as we embrace our legs, drawing them closer towards the belly. Maybe rocking side to side as we massage out our lower spine. And when you're ready, we'll begin to release our feet and our legs down towards the mat, taking up as much space as you need to on your mat. We're going to bring our arms alongside the body as we begin to release and relax. as we make our way into our Shavasana, our final resting pose, the pose where we tie all of the previous poses together. Begin to find softness and stillness down through the body. Releasing any last bit of effort, and invite ease and warmth down through the body. This is where I'll leave you for today. I encourage you to spend as long as you can in your Shavasana. And thank you very much for joining me for our practice. I look forward to seeing you again soon on the mat. Namaste.